Hello, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 8 of Intentional Spiritual Living with Brian. I'm excited about today's episode because we're actually going to do some hands-on crystal grid building with a crystal grid that I designed years ago about fast manifestation and how rather than talk about my opinions on it and that type of thing, this is actually a hands-on. I'm just going to walk through the instructions on how to do it and tell you why I use it. So I'm excited about that. Talking about a favorite stone of mine that I recently actually used in a ritual that brought me some good fortune that I wanted to talk about and why it's a very special stone, and that would be Amazonite. And of course, our 3-card reading to find out what tarot and the universe wants us to know for the weeks ahead. Very excited to get started, so I won't ramble on too much longer. Happy September again to everyone. Time is flying. It's coming into the last parts of 2024. I can't believe it. But let's get excited and start talking metaphysical goodness. All right, let's talk about Amazonite. Amazonite in the industry is well known with a moniker of the gambler stone. And I want to stop right there for a second and just talk about that fact. And I know I say this 1,000 times throughout my podcast about my age, but I do say that so that you understand that I have some road behind me. And things are just funny when I think about it. So the gambler stone, since the beginning of time that I remember, Amazonite was an aventurine to a lesser degree, in my opinion. And opinion is important here. It's been known as the gambler stone. So I just did, when I was preparing my script and my outline for this podcast, I just did a quick Google search on spiritual uses of Amazonite. And I just want to talk about some of the top contenders that came up, and really, before we talk about the uses of Amazonite, why you can't pay attention to everything you read online. The very first thing I came up with is that it's a captivating stone renowned for its soothing energy and spiritual significance, often referred to as a stone of courage and a stone of truth. I'll just stop there. I had other things written down, but we'll just stop there. This brings up a good point about Raven's Cauldron, my store. We have well in excess of 160 different types of tumbled stones. And like any metaphysical store of times gone by, we have the little cards of descriptions about what those stones mean. And I just want to kind of talk about that evolution right there, what they mean. And we used to give out these little sheets of paper to people. You know, you buy your carnelian, and it talks about, all kinds of metaphysical and spiritual benefits of carnelian. The thing is about that, these things evolve over time, but they're really somebody's opinion. It's not so simple as carnelian is red, Amazonite is green, and green can go towards your heart chakra type thing. It's not so simple as that. In fact, what it really is personal. And that's why I brought up those Amazonite descriptions I was talking about. Soothing energy, stone of courage, stone of truth. Soothing energy, I would go right for amethyst. That's been well agreed upon that amethyst is a tranquilizing stone, to the point that a lot of people put it on a big chunk of rough amethyst, for instance, on their nightstand to help induce sleep. Not Amazonite. But again, I'm not saying that's wrong, that Amazonite can't be used as a stone of courage or a stone of truth with spiritual significance. None of that. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying put very little of your knowledge and energy into what someone else says a stone is used for. And put all of your energy in what it does for you. And never, ever forget that. That's the most important thing about this lesson about Amazonite. Because what I'm about to tell you is my uses for it. And by all means, That's how the craft works. We talked about this last week in the episode, and we're carrying it into this one. You're hearing my corner of the world. I've been very successful with witchcraft and manifesting beautiful things in my life and making things happen and enhancing my life over a period of probably 45 years. I probably started when I was 6 or 7. And so I'm just sharing my wisdom. But with things regarding spirituality, it's not a cut and dry situation where we can always say that is the buck stops here. And I think I talked about this early on in one of my seasons of this podcast with amethyst. You know, amethyst is well known as a tranquilizing stone that you would put near you, carry with you, wear as jewelry, whatever it takes to induce peace, tranquility, and calmness. I don't find that to be the case with amethyst at all. In fact, I'm working on that's what I'm going to call a mega crystal grid over at my special scary room at the escape room. We were talking about the hauntings over there. This crystal grid is probably 3.5, 4 feet across. There's not one piece of amethyst in it. Because it's not the type of stone that I truly vibe with. It's just the way it goes. It doesn't induce calm with me. It doesn't do anything to me. I think it's a beautiful stone. I love its geological significance. I love it in its rough cut-based form where it comes from Brazil and it has those pointy crystals. But when you grind it up in a tumbler and smooth it out, it loses its luster for me. That's just me. That's my opinion. If you were to read about amethyst, of course, you would see that is the de facto go-to template stone for tranquility. So, again, chart your own uses for these crystals. Get your own book of shadows going and figure out what these things do to you. I'm not that organized. I have a book of shadows, but I never keep it up. My book of shadows is in my skull, in my brain, and that's where I keep it. So onward and upward. Let's talk about Amazonite and my experiences with Amazonite and why I think that it would be a wonderful, wonderful crystal for you to add to your toolkit. It is often referred to as the gambler's stone due to its reputed ability to bring good luck and fortune, especially when you're taking a risk or a chance, and that's where the gambler's stone comes in. But I'm going to stop right there. So, and that's been true for me with Amazonite since day one. It's been very luck-inducing. I take it to different places. Casino, if I'm going for a night of gambling, you'll never see me come to the casino without a piece of Amazonite on my person. But what's really interesting to remember, for me with Amazonite, that's just a little small use of it. But Amazonite, some of the most revered and valuable Amazonite grows next to black tourmaline. And that's where the fun comes in with it. People believe that Amazonite enhances the flow of luck and prosperity, and so they make talismans out of it when they're engaging in activities such as gambling or a new business venture, for instance. And when you can add in not another piece of black tourmaline as a separate crystal, but where it grows inside of it, that's where the power comes in. I actually have a tumbled piece, and not a very valuable piece at all. I don't even know where I got it. I've had it for years and years. But what I'm telling you is that it has a piece of black tourmaline that is growing inside of it, and therein lies the protective quality of this crystal for me and how I can use it so beautifully. Because if I'm going to lay my poker chips down, if I'm going to invest in Starbucks stock, for instance, if I'm going to open a new Raven's Cauldron store, a good one would be when I opened the escape rooms. I used that very piece I'm talking about and made it a freshly cleansed talisman for that business adventure. And it's because it brings in the luck, but it also brings in the protective qualities to keep anything negative, anything bad happen to you with the black tourmaline. And that, my friends, is a very, very powerful, powerful talisman. It's a stone that's also said to encourage optimism and a positive mindset, and it certainly does that for me too. And I'm always in desperate need of positive mindset and optimism, because sometimes I can be a little bit of a curmudgeon, and I if I'm thinking about investing or doing something new, I will come up with all the reasons why I shouldn't do it rather than the reasons that I should. And that is the wrong way to approach any sort of new venture. And so I keep it on my person at all times when I'm going through something like that. And actually, that big 4-foot crystal grid I'm talking about, I just added that every week. Dan or Lori and I, or all three of us, go over and we're building this crystal grid for manifesting of good in our lives, and we add crystals to this pot. And I actually added my very personal piece of amazonite to it last week. I'm missing it very much, but it has a definite intention attached to it, and it's a very personal talisman. So amazonite for coming up with good luck when you're getting into a risky endeavor, and protection from anything that can go wrong. You can't go wrong with that. And that's where it outshines aventurine. For instance, aventurine is a very much a luck-inducing stone, but it is missing that protective piece. And so for me, in very specific situations where I'm investing and I'm doing something that's risky, it's a powerhouse, and you really should have it in your toolkit. So I wanted to, real quick, to close this section out, kind of talk, go through a little incantation that I use so that I can work with my amazonite to get all the manifestation of goodness in my life. And so, if you will, and let me, before I say that, I'm sorry, I'm so scatterbrained on this, but I'm excited about this stone. If you don't have a piece of amazonite, I encourage you to go to your local crystal stores. This would not be a good one to buy online because you need to see it, but look for a piece of amazonite that has black tourmaline growing in it, black specks, black crystals. You'll be able to tell how black tourmaline grows. It grows in kind of the tourmaline kind of bar growth patterns almost. Well, of course, like pink tourmaline and green tourmaline. It's kind of, it just grows in bars. And so you'll maybe see a rough piece of amazonite with it sticking out, and there is the goodness that you want to look for and keep for the rest of your life. So for those of you that don't have it, the thrill is in the kill. Go and find your piece, and that's a blast. And once you do, and you cleanse it and you get to know it, then you might want to do this little incantation for something that you're working on. And it's very simple, but this is how you charge crystals, and this is how you put your intention in them and love on them. So hold it in both your hands and close your eyes and ground yourself. Put your feet on the ground and take a deep breath. And I want you to visualize a very bright green light surrounding the stone, and it's radiating out from the stone and coming through you and filling the entire place that you're sitting in with this green, rich energy. And once you've got that vision clear and you're surrounded by the green energy, say the following: Stone of fortune, bright and true, bring swift luck in all I do. With amazonite my path is clear, luck and fortune now draw near. By the stone's power and the light within, let my success and luck begin. As I will, so mote it be. Luck and blessings come to me. I'm going to say that one more time for you. This is a powerful incantation to charge your piece of amazonite that has some black tourmaline inside of it to bless you with manifesting luck and prosperity and keeping the risk factors to null to non-existent for you. Here we go. Stone of fortune, bright and true, bring swift luck in all I do. With amazonite my path is clear, luck and fortune now draw near. By the stone's power and the light within, let my success and luck begin. As I will, so mote it be, luck and blessings come to me. After you've charged in your stone and done that incantation, then keep it on your person through the duration of your project, unless you're using it in a crystal grid like I'm doing, and then it's got your energy where you want it. And when it comes to a completion and you've gotten the fast luck that you're looking for, put it back in your crystal toolkit and cleanse it for the next time. Never, ever bury a crystal of this power. And when I say, like, there are other crystals you can bury, a piece of clear quartz is something that you use and it's done its will and you want to return it to the earth, that's completely fine. But a piece of amazonite that has black tourmaline crystals growing within it, that's very near and dear to you, is one that you want to keep in your toolkit for the duration of time, friends. Give it a try. I think you're going to love it. All right, up next, we're going to go through the specific instructions for a fast manifestation crystal grid that I wrote. I think you're going to love it. There's a lot of materials involved, so I'll go over the materials list, and then I will walk through how to put it together. And I think you're going to love it. Looking forward to talking to you soon. Let's talk crystal grids because I love them. I really, really do. Probably my favorite type of spell work to do is a crystal grid. And the reason why I love them so much, so when you do a regular spell, you gather your materials, you write your letter or incantation, whatever it is you're doing. And then it's kind of so mote it be. It's out there in the universe, and you just kind of wait for it to happen. And I do those type of spells all the time, every day, and love them. But what's special and why crystal grids have such a deeper meaning for me is that they stay put together for a very particular length of time. And I don't mean to beat a dead horse talking about my massive crystal grid that I'm working on over at Crooked Cottage Escape Rooms, but that's been in existence for 6-7 weeks now, and it will probably be in existence till the end of the year because these are long-range plans that I'm infusing energy to it and asking for. And so I can go back and sit with it. I can light a candle and sit in a dark room with my crystal grid, feel the energy, and infuse it with my intentions. And I know this sounds woo-woo and goofy, but this is how it works. And you charge your crystal grid with a wand and stuff. I hate to say the word and stuff, but a wand as in a massage wand. I charge mine with a carnelian wand, and then I also charge it with a selenite wand. So there's your and stuff. And once you charge it and seal it, then it can stay put together until such time that it's done. And then you put your crystals back into your crystal toolkit, which is just an amazing thing for me. So the short of it is that I'm a visual person, and so when I've done a spell and I did it 3 weeks ago and I'm still waiting for it to happen, if I did a crystal grid, I can go back and visit it and re-energize it and see it, the fruits of my labor. And so that's what I love about it. Today we're going to be doing a crystal grid that I designed a very long time ago, and it's a fast manifestation crystal grid. In my younger years, and not unlike these years, I am always in a hurry to get something done. I want it, and I want it now. I'm not saying I'm proud of that, but patience is not something that it's not a virtue that I own. I'll say that. And so this is why I design fast manifestation stuff, because I don't want to lose interest and I want to keep the momentum going. And so creating a crystal grid for fast manifestation is quite a powerful way to focus intentions and amplify the energy. And that's the difference with you're amplifying the energy with crystals to bring your desires into reality. And so here are some instructions. I'm going to go through this one by one and as quick as I possibly can, realizing this is a podcast. And I'm going to find a way maybe to attach some attachments, attach some files, if you will. I lost the word. I apologize. To the podcast that you're listening to. I just don't know if I can get it across to all platforms to where you could download this template. But if not, you'll have my spoken word to do it. And so let's talk about the materials first. Let's gather our materials. Our center stone for this crystal grid is going to be clear quartz, the master crystal, and that's for amplification and clarity. So you'll need a small piece of clear quartz, and then we're going to have supporting stones. We're going to need a piece of pyrite, which attracts wealth and success. We're going to need a piece of carnelian for motivation, energy, and passion. Green aventurine for luck and opportunities. And tiger's eye for focus and determination. Then we're going to need connector stones, and those are going to be clear quartz and amethyst, and that's for energy flow and spiritual connection. Perimeter stones around the outside, we're going to need black tourmaline, and that's for protection. We're going to need a crystal grid. That can be a wooden crystal grid of your choice with a design of your choice on it, or a cloth grid with a sacred geometric pattern, like the flower of life or seed of life, or a Metatron's cube, for instance. But you don't have to have any of that. If you don't have that, you can use a piece of paper if you need a template, or you could just use the ground below you. It really doesn't matter, because the power is in the crystals that you're putting in your grid, not the drawing or sacred geometry that it's sitting on. That's just a template or pattern, if you will. We will need a manifestation item, and of course that's a written intention letter that you want. What do you want this crystal grid to do? And then in this particular fast manifestation, I would use a clear quartz wand, so you will need that. So I want to go over that list again real quick. We will need a clear quartz center focus stone. We'll need the supporting stones of pyrite, carnelian, aventurine, and tiger's eye. We will need connector stones of clear quartz and amethyst, and perimeter stones of black tourmaline. We will need our grid base, which could be just simply the floor below you. It could be a piece of paper with the sacred geometry on it. It could be a wooden crystal grid. It could be a stone crystal grid, a ceramic crystal grid, or a cloth grid. It doesn't matter. A letter of intention, and a crystal wand made out of clear quartz. So once you've gathered those items, and just to be clear on these items, these don't need to be showcase pieces of crystals. My most revered piece of amazonite, as I talked about earlier in this episode, is a small tumble. Size doesn't matter when it comes to crystal grids, and that's a fact. Okay. So go ahead and let's go through the instructions on this grid. So let's get our mind wrapped around it when we're doing this and prepare our space. Find a quiet, sacred space is very important for this crystal grid, because this crystal grid could stay put together in your home, if that's where you're practicing, for months, if not a year. So find that sacred space that has enough room to set up your crystal grid. When you get that space, this is of the utmost importance. Smudge that area with sage and Palo Santo. We want to remove any previous energy, because we're really doing a big ask here with the crystal grid. That's what this is. So once you have your space prepared and smudged and ready to roll, then we want to start setting our intention. So clearly define what it is we want to manifest. And I talk about this in Candle Magic. I've talked about it on this podcast, but it bears repeating. Don't say prosperity. Don't say wealth. Don't say money. Because they will not come to you that way. When you ask for something generically like that, you're going to get a generic response from the universe. So a clearly defined crystal grid intention would be something to the effect of, I need working capital, aka money, because I am considering expanding my Etsy shop with a bunch of new stock that is trending right now that will bring wealth into my life, but I don't have the capital to do that. Very specific. I mentioned that I want to expand an Etsy shop. I want to do that, and I need capital, meaning money, to buy materials to sell to make money. Not, I just want money. The universe needs to know why you want it, because one thing you will know is the universe isn't just going to give you money just because you want an easier life. You need to work for these things. All right, so we write that down on a parchment piece of paper and place it in the center of your grid. Now, select your grid base, and that's going to be the piece of paper or just the floor. It doesn't matter. Whatever pattern you're going to use. Now, it's beyond the scope of this particular podcast, but there is I will commit to this, folks. I will do a crystal grid sacred geometry section of a podcast 2 episodes from now. I've already got the next one planned out. So our final episode of season 3, episode 10, I will do a crystal grid sacred geometry, why you would use a Metatron, for instance. We're using a spiral. So if you just do a small circle and keep drawing in circles and circles and circles, I do everything in counterclockwise because I'm a little bit left of center and that's how I feel, but you don't have to. You can do it clockwise too, but it's the never-ending spiral is what we're going to use on this. Why would I use that? And it's because we want this continuity to keep happening. We don't want to do this crystal grid every time we want this kind of prosperity. So for instance, using that Etsy shop, I need capital to buy more product. That is in the middle of that spiral, and it just keeps growing and growing and going for eternity so that we never have to revisit this again. So go ahead and place your center stone, which is the clear quartz, in the center of your grid. And the reason we put that there is it will amplify and direct the energy of this intention throughout the spiral that we're using. We have placed the written intention under the grid. If you're not using a grid and you're just using the ground, then just put your letter of intention right under that clear quartz. Now we're going to add our supporting stones, which are pyrite, carnelian, green aventurine, and tiger eye. And we're going to put them around the center stone and just keep doing a trail. So we're just expanding the circle. If you were to trace your wand, we would start on the clear quartz in the middle, and we've already got an entire circle and a half with our supporting stones. Now we're going to add our connector stones. Our connector stones are clear quartz and amethyst, and we're going to put them between the supporting stones. So you're going to keep spacing out your supporting stones because we're adding these connector stones in between. And those are connecting and amplifying the energy between all of the supporting stones. And just to go through why we're doing this again, the stone's meanings. In the center is amplification and clarity of the clear quartz. And then we have pyrite, which is attracting wealth and success. And then we have clear quartz and a piece of amethyst between that. And that's to remain calm, cool, collected, and amplify that energy until we get to carnelian, which is motivation, energy, and passion. And then another piece of clear quartz, another piece of amethyst, and then green aventurine, and that's our luck and our opportunity. And then another clear quartz, another amethyst, and then we have tiger's eye, and that's for groundedness and determination and focus. So you should have at least 3 or 4 circles now. If you imagine just growing these circles, a complete... Think of the @ sign for an email and just keep continuing that. Now we're going to add our perimeter stones, and that is for protection only, and that is black tourmaline, and we're going to put them on all 4 corners of the grid around the outer edge, and it helps to protect us and keep us grounded and keep anything negative and risk-inducing out of our grid and out of our project here. So we're repelling the negative, and we're amplifying and bringing in everything we need to get this done. All right, so we have now got our grid set. We should be sitting looking at it now, adjusting it, because it's going to stay that way for quite some time. So just make sure you like how it looks, and the circles there, and the connecting stones, and the supporting stones, and the center stone is all the way you want it. Because now we're about to activate it. We're going to get that clear quartz crystal wand, and we're going to start at that center stone, that center piece of clear quartz, and draw an invisible line to each supporting stone and through the connecting stones, and just keep tracing our grid. And while you're doing that, visualize all the things we talked about, all those energies flowing through the grid, amplifying what we need, which is our intention. And just one more time, we're starting with amplification and clarity, and we're moving to wealth and success, and then we're moving to motivation and energy. Then we're moving to luck and opportunity. And then we're moving to focus and determination. Those are the things that are going to make this happen. And then all those connecting stones are just tying all that energy together. So it's one big, consistent piece of energy that you're going to raise up and bring into your life. Now, after you've done that, keep repeating that. Keep activating your grid and keep visualizing it until you feel that it has already happened. Sometimes I do this for an hour. I just keep tracing my grid, and I keep visualizing to get that prosperity, to get whatever it is I'm looking for, and I want it fast. So the activation, you're asking the universe. The universe is sitting there waiting to help us, but we have to ask for what we want, and that's what we're doing right now. After you've done that process enough that you can see it and you believe it and you feel it like it's already happened in your life, you've thought about it so much that you're now living as if I've already expanded my Etsy shop. I've already bought that new stock, and cha-ching, I'm making money now. Sit quietly in front of your grid, close your eyes, and just meditate on your intention. Again, visualize it as if it's already happened. Feel the emotions associated with it. Feel how you feel when you get there. Was it worth what you wanted? Do you need to make any adjustments? Spend at least 10 minutes in this meditative state and let that energy flow all around the room you're in and all around you. You should feel huge energy from these crystals. Crystal grids are just so powerful. After that, you just leave the grid intact and allow it to remain in place for as long as you feel it is needed. Since we're doing a fast manifestation, it shouldn't be more than a month. But whenever it happens is when you know it's there. When that's happened and it's fulfilled its purpose, then you can carefully dismantle your stones and cleanse them in a moon. I like to cleanse in moonlight, and I like to cleanse on the new moon. And I should have said this. This fast manifestation crystal grid is best to do when you're at your most powerful on a full moon, and then cleansing on a new moon, because the moon is completely starting over, and we can reset those stones. It's like resetting a battery and put them back in our toolkit. And that is it, my friend. That is a fast luck crystal manifestation grid. And I think if you really put your mind to it, I think you will get huge success out of it. I've probably been doing this exact grid for, I want to say 15, 18 years. I don't do it often because I do that circular continuity spiral. And so once I've done it, I try to keep the energy in my life up for whatever it is I want. And I think you will find that that is the case with you too. If you really, really give it your attention and your best effort, it will work for you. All right, friends, coming up, let's see what tarot has to tell us for the weeks ahead. All right, let's talk tarot. It is tarot time. I shuffled my cards at break, and I'm pulling them right now. Got the Three of Pentacles, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Devil. Interesting combination. 3 and 9 of Pentacles and the Devil. This is a nuanced reading, very interesting, actually. I love Pentacles coming up in tarot. So when I'm looking at this right now, things that I'm pulling out has everything to do with the Three of Pentacles is all about success through collaboration and hard work. So when you look at that card, you can see the beautiful stone carving there and how it would have never come to be in its beauty had the two more experienced people had not brought in that acolyte to help them with a fresh set of eyes and new ideas and diversity of thought and skill set, if you will. And so collaboration, hard work, and when you bring in teams, we can move mountains. The Nine of Pentacles further enhances that success. The Nine of Pentacles is all about lavish. I've reached a situation in my life where I can afford to be bougie, if you will, but it's got the devil as well. We pulled the devil card. So how does that lead into it? If it was just the 3 and 9 of Pentacles, I would say that a collaboration and teamwork will yield a huge harvest, and you will be thrilled with the project. But we add the devil in, and it's a cautionary note to be added to this reading about an otherwise positive situation. It's the potential of success and material wealth leading to greed and obsession and unhealthy attachments. And it also could lead to, when I'm looking at this, the potential for unhealthy dynamics and collaborations where you're manipulating people in your team to get yourself ahead, if you will. And manipulating, controlling, very unhealthy dynamics within a team that can lead to some serious unhealthy dynamics is the best word I can use. And so it's all about balancing that material success with your inner freedom. The devil card asks that you examine your pursuit of wealth, if that's what you're asking for, and status and recognition and all those attachments that when we read about them and we watch TV and movies and stuff, it's everything we want. But then when we get them, it can lead to some unsavory situations in our life. And so it's just a peek around the corner, as tarot often is, to tell us, hey, take a peek at that. If I were giving advice and I was doing this reading, it might be to do a little self-reflection, understand exactly what it is you truly want, maintain your ethical integrity, don't be manipulative, and keeping healthy boundaries and collaborations, and don't try to massage the situation for your own gain and not the gain of the team. In summary, in a tarot reading such as this, it's a combination that would highlight successful outcomes of hard work and collaboration, but a warning against the potential dangers of becoming too attached to your success and to your wealth and your self-promotion. And it's just a call from the universe to examine everything and examine with razor thought exactly what it is you want, so that you can do it in a healthy way. I just love tarot. I love how it lets us hold up a mirror to what we're doing and think about what we're doing and ways that we can do it in a better way, if you will. So that's what the universe wants us to know for the weeks ahead. So if you're listening to this, just be aware of those topics. If you're trying to get ahead and get success, and it might seem like you can add someone quickly to your team or get someone in your corner to get yourself ahead, just think about what you're doing and make sure that you're doing it for all the right reasons. All right, friends, and that is a wrap on Season 3, Episode 8. Coming up next week in Episode 9, we're going to continue our 10-part Building Your Crystal Toolkit with Rainbow Obsidian. And it is an actual interesting discussion about rainbow obsidian. It's not the easiest to find crystal, but I use it. This is all personal for me on how I use rainbow obsidian versus regular obsidian. So I think you're going to find that interesting. Of course, we're going to do a 3-card tarot pull and see what the universe wants us to know for that week ahead. And we're also going to talk about Book of Shadows and Grimoires. What's the difference between them? What are they? And how do we use them? I think I kind of already talked earlier that my Book of Shadows is mostly in my brain, but I'm going to talk. I do have a very archaic, chaotic Book of Shadows, but it's not beautifully written on parchment paper that looks like something that came out of Harry Potter. It looks like a hot mess, but it works for me. And we're going to talk about how to build yours, because a Book of Shadows, there's nothing more personal than that. So I look very forward to talking about those topics with you next week. Until then, my friends, have a safe week in the crazy world out there, and I'll see you soon.